Yo, 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 yo! What it is in the place. Marvel Card Collectors is back. Yo!
We're back.
How embarrassing can a middle-aged man get?
Just wait.
It's all right. Just wait. Exactly.
Just wait. Just
Oh,
wait. Yeah. It'll get a lot worse, I'm sure. Anyway. Daddy's medicine. Right. Welcome everybody to the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. We're back after a much needed few weeks. Well, certainly from my point of view, because I was ill. I came down with the lurgy, and it proper blew me out for a good week and a bit, and then I was away, and then but sometimes it's cool to have your creative batteries recharged.
Yeah,
like an appropriate moment. Anyway, this week we have Josh, who you've already heard. Oh, Josh,
I just disappeared.
You just disappeared.
What it is?
Voice. There
How
we go.
is everybody?
I don't know, what is it. And Jason's here.
Hello.
And Jason's here. And I hope you've got your vocal cords warmed up, because Pete MacLeod, TC Wallets and more, is in the chat. Says, welcome back to church, the Marvel Cards Church on a Sunday morning. Welcome. And it's Pete's birthday today.
Oh boy.
So I thought there'd be at least Wesley here, because Wesley is a good kind of bass tenor kind of note on it.
Oh, sure.
But we're going to sing happy birthday to Pete.
Pete,
so,
happy birthday.
Count to three. After three. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
This is terrible. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pete, TC Wallets and more.
More.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that last part was like those guys that stand together in the line and do that.
That's what I was going for, but we failed completely. Pete, I'm so sorry. I hope that was okay for you. I hope you're still here. I think
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So
yeah, exactly.
We still missed that one, but it's okay.
Yeah, we still missed that one. So welcome back. So we are March. Thanks, guys. That just made my day. I'm sure we can top that in some way. Right. So it's weird. It was kind of a good moment to take that break, because obviously the last time people would have seen and heard us was the Upper Deck kind of bookend, I guess, to think about it in that way. Interview with Jason, Mr. President, El Presidente.
That was great. It was fantastic.
Oh, hang on a minute. In the back door.
There he is.
It's Keith. It's Keith. I think Keith was actually waiting until we'd done the singing bit.
Yeah, no, that's a good move.
Yeah.
That's a good move.
So yeah. How you doing, Keith? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. It's lovely to see your smiley face. Who else is here? We've got Interglobal on chat. We've got Jake, Retroverse, on chat. Morning, boys and girls.
So Ian, are you totally back to 100% now? Any lingering effects?
I've still got a cough hanging around, which is bizarre. But yeah, no, it was the weirdest thing. What I don't like about it is that sorry, I've just noticed a massive cobweb on my television there, which basically means I don't clean. The weirdest thing about being ill for that amount of time is now that I kind of run twice a week, having like 10 days off from running. So the first time I went out after running, my legs were it was literally like I'd never run ever at all. It's amazing how quick it goes. So yeah, but having said that was 2 weeks ago when I first went back and tried to run, and this morning I did 8K. It's my longest ever run. So
you're back.
So there we go. So yeah, I'm kind of there, even though the cold's hanging around. But apart from that, I've kind of just been enjoying like sorting cards. That sounds bizarre. I've been like picking stuff up and just enjoying kind of. I've been doing the Depeche Mode thing.
Yeah. Little do we realize how much.
Someone's going to ask what that reference means. Someone's going to ask. Come on.
What does it mean?
Enjoy the silence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you see, come on, guys. We can tell we're rusty. I
don't have Depeche Mode's, back catalog, in my memory here. But
it is the name of one of their albums, so so it's not like you got to go deep. It's not a B-side, but yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And it's just been quite nice, apart from the EPAC sales. Oh, Wesley's here. Wesley!
Hey.
Hang on, let's bring us closer together. There we go. Brilliant. There we are. Oh, that beard. I've missed that beard.
The swoosh. Yes.
That's a good
on point, brother. You're looking good.
The audio, I thought I had the yeah. It's just,
yeah.
But it's been so long since we've been on. I wouldn't surprise me if you had to do like 15 Windows updates just to be able to see us.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, I did. I had to verify an email.
Yeah. Oh, well, I turned this computer on 4 hours ago, and it took 2 hours until it was ready to be able to do anything. But no. So yes, we're just talking about what we've kind of been up to, and I've just been apart from the EPAC stuff, which has been a bit crazy, I've just been enjoying sorting cards and just having that quietness, that pause. How about you guys? What's been happening? Anything notable?
I've been breaking into the collection kind of like you, just going through, sorting stuff, going through the displays, swapping some stuff out. Helped some, a couple of friends that were starting some like whatnot videos and doing some Marvel things there, and go and kind of help them out and mess around with. It's fun to watch even people just go through their cards and sort their cards or do rips and stuff like that. Even like consulting kind of thing with whatnot is fun. It's entertaining.
Yeah. Once you go through those, once you go through those, sort some of your cards, you find stuff you totally forgot you had, and like a whole new experience.
Yeah, it's nice to do. It's nice to do.
My living room has been full of cards for the last month or so. I'm going through everything and get bogged down with, because I have a bunch of stuff that like blasters I bought that I never really finished a base set, and like, what do I do with these? And so anyway, I'm doing that, and then those EPAC sales have not helped. I went hard on Throwbacks 89. Went back and revisited that, and then once what if was 75%, I put together a couple sets with that. I was very pleased, but I'm cooling off on that now. But
yeah, it's been crazy. Keith, I don't suppose you've been. You don't strike me as much of as an EPACer. Certainly not for the MCU stuff.
No, not for the MCU stuff. I totally got baited on the Flare sale and got in there for a little bit. Didn't get anything crazy, but just revisited EPAC and figured like same thing, almost like, how does this work again? Played around in there, and then besides that, I put together the mini rainbow of the X23 from Matriarchs. The
I
medallion.
saw you posting that. Yeah.
Yep. So slowly but surely it leaked over from overseas, and we've got a good amount of colors here.
Oh, nice.
Everything but the green and the black.
Ooh. Cool. Wow. I think I've only managed to get to Titian or whatever it is, orange. I think.
That one looks great.
Yeah. Which looks good, but I haven't got any lower than that.
Yeah, that's nice. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, Jakey boy with us. Retroverse. Who else has turned up? I think there's a few others as well, but I'm not really keeping an eye on it. Anyway, it's interesting you mentioned EPAC. We'll talk about EPAC just quickly, and then we'll go on to the conversation for today's episode. There's that cough I told you about, still hanging around. EPAC's been a bit crazy for me because it's the big product that I go after is Eternals. Has had 75% off sales now, maybe 3%, and it's still not sold out. And I think it's probably got maybe 1 or 2 left in it because no disrespect, I love Eternals, as you know, but I think from most people's perspective, it's probably the last on the pecking order. That and Shang-Chi, but Shang-Chi's been having a run on 75% off. So is WandaVision. So is Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think most of the achievements from most of those products are pretty much getting to the end of their life. So it's just people are just buying to auto chase now.
Right.
And but yeah, and it's really brought the market for autos down for those products. I mean, I've seen crikey, Haley Steinfeld's auto I've seen going 150 and just below now. And a few weeks ago it was at 250, 300. I've seen Gemma Chan from Eternals that's broken below 150. Jeremy Renner, you could easily throw out $70-80 and get one of those. So it is bringing the prices down. Simu Liu, the lead guy from Shang-Chi, his is sub 300 now. I've seen a few sales. So it's kind of flooding that market. But from my perspective, of course, I've been chasing those Eternals plates when they pop up.
Mm-hmm.
So
you've done pretty well on that.
Yeah, but it's not. Even though the prices are a lot more reasonable now on them, there's 145 cards with printing plates.
Wow!
And I'm after one from each card that has a printing plate. There's 4. Yeah, there's 4 per as normal, but I'm just going for one of each card, and I think I'm at 54 plates out of 145. So it's still a bit of a challenge. Someone's just messaged me and says WandaVision is down to just packs as we speak.
Oh, wow!
So that'll be sold out by the end of this episode, I suspect. I'm very tempted to pop in and buy some, but I must not. I must resist.
I know you said you're going with 1 plate per card. Which plate are you gravitating towards?
Oh, anything.
Black cyan or
I'm just grabbing it. I'm just grabbing one.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, I can't really be fussy.
If you color locked, you'd be doing this a lot longer.
Yeah.
I color lock, and I'd probably
almost impossible. But I do kind of like the idea of how that looks when I'm trying to picture it in my head. When you've got sections of cyan, magenta, black. I think that's kind of a cool rainbow in of itself.
Yeah. But the thing is with that, having just sorted my last big batch of cards, which was mostly physical stuff, my ComC delivery next time is going to be best part of 1,400 cards at least.
Wow!
It's going to be
which is close to the dollar amount that it's going to cost to ship.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'll get it shipped within the US, but Wolverine _ claws out. Excited to get my EPAC delivery. Just sent them 270 cards, so it's nice to see them because I haven't done a shipment for a couple of years, so there's stuff on there I'll forgot I'll acquired. The downside of that, there's stuff on there when you get it, you're like, why did I go after this again? So I'm going to be reviewing it and maybe putting some stuff on sale on ComC before I ship it. But such is the ease of that platform. So I thought it'd be a good time to have a chat about. I'm just trying to think. So most of you guys probably started collecting, and EPAC's always been there. Am I right?
Yeah,
it's always been a thing.
Yeah. When I was
EPAC's probably about 9 years in now.
I was big into a massive high dive when 2016 Marvel Masterpiece released. And so everything was simultaneous with that EPAC. All my exposure to everything, getting back into the hobby was all right around mid 15, and then on release.
Yeah.
So I got to watch EPAC grow from just such a small entity and just being an original, kind of an idea, and then it exploded. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah. And it's bonkers the sheer amount of items on there, be they physical or digital, is just staggering now. So no wonder it creaks and groans every now and again. But I thought we'd talk about kind of collecting in a non-EPAC era, because aside from maybe Matriarchs, Masterpieces 2024 renditions and some of those Walmart retail sets that came out just in the last go, pretty much everything else has made it to EPAC. Obviously the last annual. So I imagine there'd be more than a few people out there who've been a bit like, WTF? What do I do? How am I going to collect these? And so I thought let's have a chat about that, because I remember the days before EPAC, when a lot of this stuff, and I've never been a solely EPAC. Some people just collect via EPAC. They don't collect physical, and some people store their collections on EPAC as well.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I've got to have it at home. So I guess the first thing, excuse me, sorry, I'm still a bit gravelly. The first thing I would say, so we got tips we got tips here, and the first one, I'm not sure that should be a ticker across the bottom of the screen. It looks a bit weird being just one word. But I guess the first main thing is network. You know, have your crew of people that you know and you kind of trust. Because I say trust because I remember in the early days of MMC, I would, in fact, I think I did this. I posted a link, and this is one of the reasons, not the reason, but one of the reasons why we don't allow people to post links to eBay auctions that aren't theirs anymore. Is I posted a link up and tagged someone and said, "Oh, there's a plate for you here on eBay." Some other mofo went and snapped it up and then tried to resell it to this guy who was going after that character.
Shocker.
For like 2 free eggs. So, you know, and so when I say a network you can trust, you want your kind of your inner circle, your people that you collect with, you know, to be looking out for your interests and not pulling any of that crap, really.
Yeah.
But I imagine, you know, I mean, we've all got them, haven't we? You know, people that we network with. And I think it's important. But I mean, how many times have you sent or received people sending you a heads up and say, "Look, got this"?
Lot.
Often, often. I mean, and sometimes it comes from people that like really shock me. I'm just like, oh wow, I really appreciate you hitting me up for that.
Yeah, out of nowhere. And it might be people that you just see online and you don't actually.
I mean, Josh just did last week.
Yeah,
which wasn't shocking, but it was, you know, he randomly hit me up for something. I was like, oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah, Ian's had my back a few times.
So I've just looked back at the. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Wesley. I just looked back at the chat, and it's just because Jake's in there. It's like everything's going off. Retro doesn't. Pete says retro. It doesn't help that you and Keith go for the same girl. But look at this. Look, Jake is bowing down and giving ground to Uncle Keith here. I'm not in Keith's league.
And I don't even think that I'm that crazy. I mean, I certainly was crazier. You know, this time around, like for me to stay out of everything, Fleer Ultra Wolverine was a shock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You've got the reputation for going hard.
Yeah.
And you're maintaining that. Your reputation precedes you.
I got you.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Nick, don't tell everybody about those.
Yeah.
Jake's like, I don't have any mates. So number one is out for me. That's not bloody true. We love you, Jake.
What you were saying about network is not only for people you trust, you know, to be able to maybe, you know, make some trades with, or, you know, find out some stuff that they're grabbing, doing rips, but just being around the card community, going over and watching some people do box rips or watching people do, you know, whatnot videos, and watching people build a business and stuff like that. Going through inventory of cards is just fantastic. And the more people you meet, the more chances you get to, you know, spend time with people doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. But that's the thing, by osmosis. Sorry. I was going to say, by osmosis, you kind of pick up who's after what stuff.
Yeah.
If you're hanging around enough.
And people learn your PC character. That's one mental note. You usually, you know, we can all list pretty much everybody, at least one of everyone's PC character here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you times that by the group. And for the most part, you know, like what just happened with Ian's post and somebody snagged that card that wasn't meant to. You've got bad apples, but for the most part, the group is just full of a ton of great people that are willing to, you know, hey, I know you know, this is your character. I have this. I've enjoyed it. It's time for me to move on from it.
I think you'll see the group be more active. I don't think it's going to, I mean, obviously it's continuously growing at all times, but I think you'll see more sales posts as EPAC goes through its efficacy. You know, there's still plenty on there. It's not going anywhere soon, but there's nothing new on there. So now people might just get bored and start saying, buy my whole EPAC, and things like that will start happening.
Oh, you'll have some of that.
Yeah.
You know, eBay's going to get tougher. For a while there, EPAC kind of distracted people, I felt. So it was nice to be able to pick stuff up on eBay while people were over there. So that's not going to happen as much. So it could be hard for some collectors to find things. And that's the other thing is, you know, it opened up the ability for you to see other people's collections and where cards you needed were.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, even if you couldn't get them, you could at least be very angry at the hockey guy that's got that one card you want that isn't
Yeah.
active anymore. You knew it was there at least.
Uh-huh.
So now it's like,
Yeah.
where is this card? I have no
Yeah.
idea. And, you know, the one guy, David Duke, was doing sketches, and he showed up in the group this week or last week, and he's like, "Oh, this sketch cable, or whatever, showed up in Japan." I would never know that, right? Without EPAC or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but he's keeping an eye on it, and the thing is, I do the same. For Black Cat, I've got my massive spreadsheet for the one of ones and the plates. If I know where it is, I have a column saying who's got it, and it'll have their eBay ID or the ComSet or the last seen thing as well. Because obviously, if it disappears on ComSet, you don't know who bought it. Although I've discovered something in the app, in the ComSet app. If you've been watching something and it's recently sold and you go and view it, it shows you for a very short period the name of the person who now has it, even though it's not for sale.
I'm surprised that's
Wow.
I spotted that, and I'm glad I spotted it, because there's one particular mofo. I mean, ComSet, actually promote this as a thing on their platform, the whole flipping thing. But there's one guy who's on the EPAC forums who I've seen snapping up stuff that I've watched. I've been like, oh, I'm curious. I want to see what happens there. And I've gone to look at it, and I've gone to the item, and it's gone. But the first time I look at it, it showed me the user. And on 4 occasions over the last month, it's done that, and it's been the same guy. And then he's flipped it on ComSet, and it's reappeared at a high price. Is what it is. Anyway, that leads me nicely into, we've kind of already waded into point 2 then. eBay and ComSet are your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you. I mean, how many eBay safe searches do we all have collected? A rough guess. Wesley, how many eBay safe searches have you got?
I probably got 25.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Respectable.
And it just,
Okay.
You start out with one thing, and then you go to your sub, and then next thing you know, I've probably got 25.
I used to have that many. I decided to claim my email back, and whittled that down to like 2 or 3.
You do get an email every time.
Every time you get an email, I was like, Jesus, I can't find
Well, they
anything
all come
I
out
need.
at the same time of day as well.
Mhm.
You get a burst of them. Yeah.
on the Apple Watch all day.
Oh yeah.
At work. Click metallurgy available.
Yeah, I had to whittle that down.
Josh, how many you got?
At least 20.
At least 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Pete, TC Watt's got 5. Okay, that's quite conservative there, Pete.
Because for me, I send it like I'll go through and just go run back through them as kind of like, hey, I haven't been on eBay in a minute. I'm gonna go through, and it's just like a little story. I just run through the quick 15 or 20 and brush up on, whether it's the achievement cards, metallurgies, things I got saved in there.
Yeah. How about you, Jason?
eBay, not really much. I don't do eBay as much for cards. Occasionally I go on there and look. I've got a bunch of saved searches on my ComSet app, probably 20 to 30 on the ComSet app. Because I just like the browsing on ComSet, but eBay, I haven't done as much with cards. I did a lot with comics, but cards I just haven't done as much card searching on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess typically if you're if you're if you're searching for cards on eBay, that half of them are on ComSet anyway. So
right, a good
maybe 30%.
Possibly. I was going to say hold my beer. I think I've got about 100 safe searches, of which that's 70 emails every day. So
yeah, I think Jake's got 120.
Yeah, Jake. Well, Jake he's gone onto his account. This is so weird when this happens. I don't know why he's got a different account on a different device.
I just deleted 120. So.
I just deleted 120 or so. So I'm like wondering how many did you start with and how many are left? I remember when eBay limited it to 99. I think they've upped that limit now. Because I was always running out of searches. I'd always have to go through and like, okay, what am I not fussed about anymore? I used to go through and delete them. And some of them are complete Hail Marys, just in case. Jake says, I'm on my phone outside. Sorry. Basically, it's code for he's having a fag. But yeah, no, I remember some of them are complete Hail Marys. that are like cards that I don't know if they'll ever appear, but I want to get an alert.
But if
just
you
in
don't have
case
that
one
flyer out there, you're not going
Right.
to.
Yeah.
We're gonna know.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you an example. It's not a Marvel one, but it's Lost, the TV show, at D23. You know, the Disney annual conference thing.
Mhm.
They did 2 cards that were only available and signed at that con by 2 of the actors, and it wasn't like main cast either. It was. Did anyone watch Lost?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
best show. That's the best show of all time. It's another
Yeah.
another episode. You know, we'll probably discuss. But
Yeah.
Even with the
that
shark
gets-
jump, it was pretty good.
yeah, that's my vote for greatest show of all time.
Well, you know the Dharma guy
Mhm.
in the white coat who does the videos. So
Oh, yeah.
he signed, and the young guy who played young Ben Linus, they both signed 1 year at D23, and I've managed to get the Dharma guys auto, and that's rare as hen's teeth. That is, I've never seen one since in the 10 years or so since that was 10 plus years, and I've never ever seen Sterling Beaumont, the actor, on his D23 cardstock, which look very similar to the main set, but it's got a different image and it says something else. So yeah, it's bonkers. Blake Marino is here. Good morning, sir.
What?
Wolverine claws out is sorry, it moved up as I pressed it. eBay, my list is maxed out. Wow. Okay. Brilliant. That's outstanding behavior.
I was thinking about this the other day, like, you know, with ComC being a separate site, I almost wonder if you could buy cards for anything. You could set them an amount for anything, but if you talk to somebody and set up a trade,
Mhm.
it almost feels like you could do a trade on ComC if you both agreed to the same, you know, amount to send back and forth and make it even. It's probably half of a thought right there, but I figured if I brought it up, somebody else might be able to help put it together.
Galvanize it. Yeah.
Well, ComC you kind of can't really. I mean, you can do. What I've done is I've sold stuff on ComC, and what I've done is I've taken the money direct to me to PayPal, and then you have to make sure you're both online at exactly the same time. I put it down to 25 cents, and they immediately buy it at 25 cents. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
But the problem is when you make a price change like that, if anyone else just happened to be looking at that item at that moment and saw it, they could beat the other person by seconds.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well, I
that's
think
kind of the way.
can't
it
you
would
send
work.
like you can send a request for a negotiated price, just like, will you accept, you know, 25 cents
Yeah,
for
I
this
think
card?
That might
And
work.
if you accept it and then somebody else does the same thing, then you could just, that would be an even trade, right? Like,
Yeah, but the problem is you can't talk to other ComC users.
or
There's
that
no
is a big
messaging
problem.
functionality.
And
So
that,
unless you've established contact via another means,
Yeah.
like Facebook or via EPAC chat,
Marvel
that takes us
Collections.
back to number one, right? You got to have,
Yeah.
and that's where I thought, like, you got to
Yeah.
have some place that's people that you
Community.
trust, because if you
Mhm.
send a high expensive card over and somebody buys it
Yeah.
for 25 cents and they're like, you know, then you're in trouble. So
yeah.
There's
yeah.
no comment box when you make an offer. I haven't bought anything off of ComC
No.
directly
You
in so
cannot
long.
communicate in
Mhm.
any way with other companies. This is why you often see posts on the groups on Facebook.
Does anybody know who
People
this
saying,
is?
"Does anyone know who this is?" And it's like, well, you know, no.
And
I mean, you know,
You can sometimes
could
if
be
it hits
against-
eBay, you can usually break your way down to figure out who that is in many
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and it could be
Um,
against the terms and conditions in ComC to do any trading too, but I don't even know.
yeah, ComC's not a trading platform at all.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just like that. But Blake, we'll come on to eBay fees in a moment because there's some interesting stuff happening in the UK on that may happen in the US. But the thing with eBay is that with breakers opening a lot of products, be they on Whatnot or whatever platform they tend to use, eBay will be where they send it. But a lot of them also now send it to ComC. You know, they'll just package it up, ship it off. ComC will just put it on. So I've already started seeing stuff from Renditions appearing on there.
Mhm.
Flair Ultra Matriarchs is on there, and so these didn't get a physical release. So it's actually sometimes easier for people who have leftover product, and I've got stuff that I've had for a while that's just not selling. I'm probably just going to punt it off to ComC and let
No.
it sit on there.
Yeah,
Is that free?
and if well, no,
Besides
if
No,
you,
shipping?
I have to ship it to them.
But besides shipping, is the
But
service
also,
free
if-
to list on there, or do they charge
you
you?
know, it's 20 here.
Um,
It's 50 cents a card here, and if something is released in the first 90 days, they give you a half off. So like if it was just released 90 days ago, you could send it in for 25 cents. If that's how I think I understand it. But that was part of something
well,
else that I
makes
thought
sense.
of. Is
That'll
like
incentivize getting your cards on there quickly.
Interesting. Has anybody
Right.
sent anything into
Right.
ComC already?
I
I've
haven't,
seen
but
some-
I'm probably.
I mean,
about to
just
send
just
stuff
off
on.
of
Yeah.
EPAC, but I haven't sent anything physical to ComC to list.
I'm just wondering
I
if there's
have.
work involved. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, well,
what do? You just fire them away, or do you have to do like a submission for CGC or whatever
I
and
think
do all
you
the
have
stuff?
to submit. Yeah, I don't think it would be counterproductive for them to make it difficult for people to do that, because
Yeah,
ComC's been around since before EPAC. So
One thing that I
that's
do
where all the
do
cards came from.
is
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'll go in there and they have a part where you can send it in and just send straight to grading. So like I'll clean my card up and put it into the grading stuff and send it in to ComC. Basically, you go into your ComC account and you just go to submissions and just start new submission, and they'll ask you what service you want. You can either do the basic service, which is the 50 cents. You could pay a little bit more to have it go onto ComC. I think it's the elite service, gives you ComC, and it'll be listed on eBay as well. You got to pay a little bit more for that to show up on eBay, or you can just set it up to where it just goes straight into a grading service where it sits there until you're ready to grade it. And whenever you grade it, you get to pick which grading company it goes to. And once it's done, it just comes back to you. I have the one that I sent out last week was I stopped by and saw some cards. I think I might have told you guys I stopped by and saw some 90s cards that I just don't have any 10s in, and they look really good. So I just put them together and sent them off there. And I think I sent it out on a Wednesday, and it showed up into my account like 7 or 8 days later. So it was a lot quicker than I expected. And then you could turn around, and if you want to sell something, there's more money for you to do other stuff with it. But
So I think they're a fairly well-oiled machine, at ComC in that regard.
I think that's for me.
Yeah. Well, I know that on the listing on eBay side, I've had cards that I've moved from EPAC to ComC and put on sale, and they just list them on eBay. You don't get to choose that. If you're auctioning it, that's a separate thing. You have to choose to do that. But otherwise, most ComC product just automatically they share it to eBay, and it'll go that way. So, but yeah, it's one of the interesting things about, obviously both platforms take fees from a seller, but as a buyer, I'm just thinking from a buyer's point of view here, it just makes it, those are good channels to see product. The ComC system, I find it a lot easier to find stuff because the search terms will fit in. It suggests, all the products are on there, they're cataloged, it pulls from their database. So if you're searching for a Renditions Hobgoblin Orange or whatever it is, it will auto-complete and it will find stuff within that category. So you don't have all that bollocks of spelling mistakes and things like that that you have on eBay, or people missing out part of the set title.
Well, it's got a filter down. So like if you're just looking for metallurgies, you can just type metallurgy and it'll show you all of the product that has metallurgy in it, and then you just bang,
you can just select which products. Yeah. So it's pretty good in that regard. eBay. Now, interestingly, Blake mentioned that eBay fees are just atrocious. I mean, you're kind of looking at 10 to 15%, depending on what it is, and and all that sort of stuff. Which, in my experience, has kind of always been the ballpark anyway with eBay. They just move the goalpost as to where it applies. But in eBay UK, they've done something very interesting over the last year. First of all, they removed fee. What was it they did first? No, they did something first. But anyway, the big change was at least 6 months ago. They removed all fees for private sellers. So I went through a glorious period of selling stuff and having nothing come off, unless, of course, I added something extra like subtitle
Promotion.
or promoted listing or something like that. Yeah, Retro's just saying they did it on close first, and then they widened it out to everything. So all of a sudden it was happy days, and I was looking at it thinking, there's got to be something else going on. I can't believe it. So what they also did at the same time is they started introducing something called eBay Balance. Now, I don't know if you have that in the US, but basically when your stuff is sold, when you're selling stuff, it goes into a pot, and you could usually like automatically have it export or withdraw it either a day later or a week later or whatever, or at the end of the month, I think it automatically just dumped. But eBay Balance came in, and basically you can leave it in your eBay Balance and use it to spend on the platform. So I'm like, okay, well, because there's no reason for them to dump those fees unless they're making the money elsewhere. So of course they'll have a massive pot of revenue sat there that they can earn interest
on. Yeah,
and interest rates have been better than they have been in quite a few years, well, better or worse depending on your standpoint. But they've been higher than they have been for like over a decade in the UK, for quite a while now. The other thing then that happened very recently in the last 2-3 weeks is that sorry, someone's just messaged me. And I've got to turn my phone over because it really throws me if I see something pop up. Because it just takes my mind away from what I'm saying. The other thing that's happened is they've started adding on something that buyers pay. So they've shifted the fees to the buyers. Now, you as a seller don't see this. You as a seller don't see this at all. So I can list something at £20. And so when I look at my eBay app, I see £20. But they've added buyer protection as an outside fee to buyers, and you can't avoid it. So a buyer might see that, and it sounds random, but I think it's like £21.12 or something stupid like that. So instantly, now what my main issue with that is that if I could see what the outside cost would be to the buyer, I might price it at £18.87, so it sells out at $19.99. Do you see what I mean? I could choose to take that fee inside, if you like. So my out price is something a bit more attractive. But at the moment, I can't see that. And it's, because it's percentage based. You can't, I haven't got my head around it yet. But that's what they've started doing in the UK. But as a seller, because I'm private, I think business sellers still pay. But as I'm a private seller, because I'm just a hobbyist like you guys. Someone like, I know Keith Boyle, for example, has probably got a business account on Facebook, on eBay. But as me as a private seller, I'm still not getting any fees. So I can't imagine that they're going to stop with the UK. They'll be doing the UK as a pilot market. So no, Jake, if you're a private seller, there's no fee. Jake's just said sellers still pay standard 10%. If you're a business account, you will, but as a private seller, I don't pay any fees at all. So
we have the balance system here.
Yeah, so the balance system they've rolled out, but I can't believe that's what I mean. I reckon I think they're going to roll that out. I can't see them stopping at the UK.
See, at least on eBay, the balance system, they don't kill you to take it out either. Like ComC crushes you when you cash.
Oh no, yeah, well, yeah, ComC have a cash out fee, but yeah, you can withdraw from eBay without any fees whatsoever, and it's usually in your bank app. Well, actually, no. Right, this is the final change. Sorry, I just remembered it, and this has got a lot of people up in arms. Once they made that change where the buyer protection came in, you have to send via a tracked method, otherwise you have to wait longer. But they don't release the funds into your eBay balance until it's actually arrived and the tracking shows it's arrived, or 14 days, whichever is greater.
Oh wow!
Correct, because I sold something last week and it was about 5 days before they.
So they've made that change now as well. Now I sent a poster, a theatre poster, to Tasmania of all places. So no issue. I'll ship anywhere. But obviously it's a longer period of time. I sold it for about 60-70 quid, and I could have done with that cash. Thank you very much. I had to wait 2 weeks for it.
The only thing I'm not a fan of is the automatic dump, where it automatically, like, once a month, like, unloads to your account that you're linked to.
I think they've stopped doing that now.
Okay, because
I think
every once in a while you're looking for a place to hide a little bit of.
I'll look up that for you.
Okay.
Reasonable rates, holders fee, all that sort of stuff. But
Mrs.
certainly,
doesn't know where that is.
yeah, those platforms aren't going away. Whatever the fee structures, people just roll with it. I mean, they're big enterprises. eBay's not going to go anytime soon. But the thing is with eBay and ComC is they'll make their slice of pie however they put it. But what I'm saying is, as a buyer, as someone wanting to acquire cards, with that flood of product onto ComC from ePack, will start to dry up. Where is the new product going to go? And it will go to eBay and it will go to ComC. It won't just go there, however. Number 3 on my list, it will go to Facebook groups, Discord, and don't forget IG as well.
Right.
I've had a little bit of luck selling on IG. It's not my go-to place to do it. I certainly wouldn't go to IG first as a place to sell stuff, but it's worth keeping your eyes open because people do, especially comics. For some reason, there's loads of comic guys who do IG Insta sales. So hashtag Insta sale. And I think a lot of card people are missing out on a trick here. Because, I'm seeing it in the feeds. I mean, some people do. Michael Salter, Cool Card Life. He lists stuff on IG as well as other places.
It'll go to Whatnot too. A lot of sellers run singles shows, just numbered singles or,
they're great.
Just all day.
I addicted just watching shows.
Now, I haven't put Whatnot on here because I'm not a user of Whatnot, mainly because of the time difference, and also I'm just not sure I'm that into it. I like a few people like Amanda, Graded Gamer. She exports her Whatnot stuff, especially now they're no longer going to keep videos after a certain point. And she puts them on her YouTube. So I get the experience of watching that because that's the one thing. I'm slightly grumpy about Whatnot because it took away the experience from sharing in the groups. And at the time I was admin of the groups and I was like, all of a sudden people stopped opening product in the group.
Right.
And I missed it. I really missed it. And I still think there's a lot of people who just, who don't, for whatever reason, don't use Whatnot. And let's not let's not beat around the bush. Whatnot's had a few body blows of late with that whole, was it Backyard Breaks?
Oh yeah, sure. And listen, that's almost like at the same time, if we're going to talk about it, buyer beware on Whatnot.
Well, yes.
Billy and I were just talking about this the other day. The group might want to start thinking about having an approved list. And I'm sorry, Billy, if I'm stealing your thunder, but
well, that's one for Pete to listen to because I'm no longer admin.
Yeah.
So Pete, if you're there, write it down and throw it into the admin chat that I'm no longer part of.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, that's not a bad point actually. I'll come back to Whatnot because it's I do have a kind of.
I got a couple bullet points there too. Still,
yeah. So we'll come back to that. But whatever Facebook group you're in, and I'm not going to assume that everyone likes MCCW. It's a less libertarian rule set, but those rules are there for a reason, and I think they keep things pretty clean and tidy. More Wild West groups or groups with a different ethos are available. So wherever you buy, it's a good place to see stuff. A lot of people will go there over and above the eBay of this world because of the lack of fees. So actually, I might put this in a different order, but eBay and ComC are open to everyone. Facebook groups are obviously closed user groups for the most part. If you're in a Discord, I find Discord less easy to find stuff in, so by its virtuality of its scrolling nature. So if I ever go back to a Discord, I'll find it very difficult to go back and read what's happened because of the way it works. So it's a very immediate thing. But a lot of people prefer to use Discord for whatever reason, and there's a few of them out there. And that could be a good route to just keep your eyes on. If you're wanting to, if a new set's come out from Topps, and I want to acquire some stuff, it's not going to be on ePack, obviously, because it's Topps. Where can I go to pick up these cards? And this is the kind of advice and the kind of tips that I was hoping we'd throw out here.
Also, if I could say something real quick, the more I was thinking about this and the analog side of it, I really do believe that this is going to drive more people to the card shops. I mean, some of those card shops that do Whatnot breaks, they have stuff that is just sitting off to the side. I went last week, or you have a whole box of stuff that is marked, non-sports. I think that more of those are going to show up. You go in there and you get the exhilaration of negotiating a little bit, getting your saving a little bit of money on some base cards. But I do think that with one of the good things, unfortunately, with EPAC going away, is that people will probably get out and go to the card shops a little bit more.
You've just completely buried the lead on my next one.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's an organic. No,
it's a happy coincidence. Yeah.
You know,
that was a good
it's
thing.
perfect. It's perfect.
Clairvoyant.
Buy physical. You know, support your local card shop. I mean, you know, we don't have them in the UK. I mean, we have some shops that can maintain. Funnily enough, I shared a news article with you all about a lady who managed to open a Pokemon store in the UK, and she's doing a great business. But there are very, very few of that type of thing in the UK. But in the US, they're much more sustainable businesses because they tend to cross over with sports a lot. You know, I don't think you would, you know, unless I'm wrong, I don't think there are many non-sports only card shops. Most of them will cross over with comics and pops and things like that. So you need something that has more of the volume to sustain you as a brick and mortar. But you know, if it's you know, something like Keith's store in Colorado is very much comic. I mean, you've been there, Keith.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's a hobby emporium. It's not just a comic.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So you can
brick and mortar has to be that way.
You have to diversify your products. But you know, it's not just there. I mean, it's like your Targets, your Walmarts, you know, with things coming out in blasters and all of Topps, you know, physical SKUs that they tend to have different versions of product. And don't forget, you know, when I say buy physical, you can buy physical direct from Topps most of the time.
Right.
Or, you know, Dave and Adams or whoever else. But I'm more thinking of finding the cards you want. That's not necessarily buying brand new product. But, you know, I know if I walked into Keith's store, I'm using Keith's store because it's an example I can think of. If I walked into there today, I know he'd have a pretty good array of singles I could buy. As well.
What I like that he has is he's got a lot of completed base sets for sale.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So you can just walk in and be like, I really like the way that product looks, and then boom, you've got a nice what do you call it, plastic case that you can throw into your binder.
Yeah. Blake, just to let you know, I'm going to come back to your whatnot points in chat. So fret not, I'm not ignoring you. But yeah, I mean, Jason, I mean, I know I keep going on about the Barnes and Noble in your building. I don't know if there is a Barnes and Noble in your building, but I quite like the mental image of you being able to go down there at 2 a.m. in your dressing gown and buy a blaster box.
Yeah, it's I'm behind it. So,
yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I got to walk through woods in a swamp in a homeless camp, but you know.
That's fine. I've got to walk across the North Atlantic, so you know. I think you've got the better end of the stick there. But what I'm saying is, you know, it's you've had a lot more of that physical over the last couple of years from Upper Deck, so it's actually kind of already got people, you know, thinking about you know, blasters and physical product being available in more widespread locations, not just your niche LCS.
Yeah, because we don't. I mean, I think we're just down to one. I think another comic store. But I think we have 2 comic stores. They don't do cards. And we've got a sports card shop, or they do sports and Pokemon. They don't mess with Marvel cards. I've talked to them about it, but I think I've said it before. People that were either collecting or selling cards in the 90s, when you bring up Marvel cards, it's like bringing up Vietnam or something to them. It's I mean, no offense to anybody that was in Vietnam, but it's just they don't want to hear it. But recently, for a while there, it was pretty plentiful at like the Walmarts, Targets, Barnes and Noble. But the last year, it's been real hit or miss as far as what shows up. There may be 6 boxes of something. I'll buy a few of them, then they disappear. Then there's nothing, and then it comes back. And I talked to the guy who puts out the cards at the Targets, and you know, I think mostly it's Pokemon and sports. And he had one Spider-Man box from that Upper Deck retail Spider-Man set. And I got that. I had to buy each pack individually, but bought the whole thing. But that was the only one he had. And that came out in November or December. And we just got one one in town in March. So it's just hit. He says it's hit or miss. Whatever the distributor sells them is what they get. They don't, order Marvel stuff. So and I'm in a smaller market, even though we have 2 universities and a community college. It's still not we don't get a whole lot of that stuff. So it's been a little dry lately.
I wonder if you'll see more now with Topps having the license, though.
Because I think we'll see more.
Upper Deck didn't make it easy to get good stuff. You had to buy the crap in order to be allocated good stuff.
Right. From an LCS point of view.
Yeah. I don't think that that's as much the case with Topps. I think that they're just, all willy-nilly with their product.
I think we may see more with I think we will see more with Topps, but even with Topps, I know they haven't, I don't know if they produced much lately, but for a while there would be a lot of Star Wars product, but it's probably been a year since I've seen a Star Wars, or a year and a half.
To be fair, Star Wars itself didn't release much last year. So if you listen to, I'm going to give him a plug now. Greg MacLeod of the Rebel Base Card podcast. He's been talking about that.
First episode I ever listened to was his episode.
Yeah. Well, he's I was on there a couple of weeks ago actually. So I have been around a little bit, but he was just like, I was just sitting here feeling sorry for myself, and he's like, "Oh, you around?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." So we sat down, we had a chat. So his latest before last episode is me waxing on about Upper Deck going away and all that sort of stuff. We had an absolute blast. He's a really nice guy, actually. We should have him come on here again, because I don't think any of you guys have ever spoken to him. He'll be at the National because he lives 20 minutes away from there. He's picking me up from the airport. No, he's a lovely guy, and his show's worth checking out. But no, he's talked quite a bit about the gaps in the product releases and things like that. So, but yeah, no, it's a valid point, because Topps Upper Deck have got that certified diamond dealer thing. We have to reach a certain level to be able to get physical products in store. I think Topps are a lot less relaxed about that, and they've had physical product going into stores, sports and non-sports, for so many years. I just think it's a more, they've got that much more established. So I think once Marvel product goes into more production from them, you're going to see it popping up in places a lot more, because Topps, they won't just stay at the premium level. They'll be doing stuff, to suit all wallets.
Right. Well, I will say about Upper Deck Blaster or retail products is that while it's kind of hit or miss with the Marvel, it's pretty consistent. You see AEW, you see the hockey, you see the golf. Goodwin's, when there's a set out, that's fairly consistent. You see that, but like Marvel's the one that's kind of a,
random
outlier. Yeah. And, there's still Blizzard boxes sitting around. Some Looney Tunes are out now. And I do see the Marvel Masterpiece, the XL. There's still those around.
I've seen those.
Those are, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze for me on those. They're nice, but,
listen, if I'm, when I'm over, because there's a Target 2 blocks from my hotel when I'm in Chicago, and you bet your ass I'm going to be hauling over there, mainly because I buy underwear. Whenever I come over to the States, I buy like 3 years worth of underwear until my next trip, and I come back. I literally fly out with an empty suitcase, and I fly back with it loaded full of clothing, because basically I've got a fat ass.
You don't come over commando, right?
I know. Yeah. I can't believe I'm about to broadcast this, but I do come over with loads of old socks and pants. Now, pants in America are underwear. In UK are underwear, not trousers, which is what you guys call pants, because frankly you're wrong. So undercrackers, or chewies, as the Aussies call them, right? So when I come over, I always bring old chewies with me, and at the end of each day, because they're at the end of their life, I bin them.
Okay.
So I don't have any dirty washing.
Man,
you're trafficking underwear and garments. You're basically
yeah. I'm an international trafficker.
I didn't think there was anything you could say.
The Lumen Hanes underwear from Target and Walmart.
This became a travel podcast all of a sudden.
I like to think we're always a travel podcast, because I'm gonna skip one here. In fact, no, I'm not going to skip one. It's next. Always a travel podcast because I'm saying go global.
Go global. Nice.
This is all coming together too well.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question for you guys.
Go on.
Because it kind of it keys on a few of these tips that we've gone through. Which avenue, which method have you used for some of the best cards in your collection? Not just valuable or rarest, but some of your favorite pieces that you have card wise. Not original art, because I know that's all over, but where did you get them from? Because I know my answer is it's immediate. It's from the group. It's from MCCW.
To be fair, I can answer to every single point on here with a really good item that I got from there. So I'm going to start with Go Global, which is where we're on now. You cannot see outside of Japan, Yahoo Japan auctions. You just can't see it. So, but there is a website called buye.jp where you can go on and create an account, and they act as a middleman. Basically, you can bid on stuff via their platform. They'll bid on your behalf. It will get shipped to their central warehouse, and then you can either hold it there and wait for other items to come through, or you can have it shipped over to you straight away. Then obviously you pay for that, but because the exchange rate is so good, you'll see something in like 50,000 yen and it's like $40 or something stupid like that. I got a Thanos Alpha Exquisite out of 23 off buye.jp for the equivalent of $80. Now, You're probably thinking, is that a good deal? And it's like, yes, short answer. If that had been on eBay.com in America, it would have gone for $300 to $400.
Oh,
easy.
yeah.
So I mean that market's softened a bit now, but at the time I bought it, it was astonishing. And I've put together an awful lot, and this goes back into the physical nature. Marvel Studios Series 1 and 2, Matriarchs. A lot of the good stuff I've got from there, I've got from sellers in China. So there seems to be a reticence or a distrust that sometimes pops up. You know, people sometimes post in group. You know, should I be okay buying from China? You know, is it safe? It's like, you know, why wouldn't it be? You know,
where does that come from? Right.
Well, I think there's an air of unknown. If you don't know, you don't know, which is fine.
Well, it has to do with like Temu. People that have bought like a Temu hot tub and gotten something this big.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't do or touch Temu. I'm aware of it.
There's there is some bad stigma around that.
Yeah, there is some bad stigma. There's also, you know, depending on what news channels you listen to, a certain amount of political rhetoric around, you know, overseas trade, and I think that's different to what country you're in. I'm not going to speak about any one particular situation there for fear of alienating listeners. But if you get me privately about it, I'll wax on about it for hours. But I think generally, I think I've had better service and this is no diss to American eBay sellers, but I've had better service from many of the Chinese ones in terms of the quality of the packaging. I'm talking bomb-proof. I'm talking you could probably, you know, sail on some of these packages across to North America, and their cards would still be absolutely fine within them, because we're talking 3 to 4 layers of protection for single cards in some cases.
Yeah,
you know, and apart from depending on, and this is just again, I think just depends on fluctuating shipping times. You can have it within a week. Sometimes takes 2 weeks, but you know it's pretty good, and you can get some really good deals. So yeah, so touching on to the point we've gone on to, and also answering your question, Josh, I've had some banging stuff, especially on the recent physical sets, from sellers in China.
Okay,
at fair prices, you know, good quality.
What's the
opening a lot of product?
What was the name of that website again?
I think it's Buye BUYEE.jp.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Because I really degened off to the side to check it out real quick.
I thought I could hear you type it. I knew you were. I knew you were. He's checking my own work as I'm saying it out. But I mean, listen, I've got some really good stuff from groups.
Yeah,
definitely.
But a few of these tips kind of lend in when you're thinking about your answer. You know, it's like, all right, trust in the community. Go global, search out for different avenues like Chinese market.
MCCW is what it is, but yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, I think number one, the network is probably kind of the foundation. And then
Certainly.
you can find out either, get your cards through and find out about, about buy EE or some of these other options. But that network is, I think, kind of the important foundation to start with. And then,
Yeah.
you go from there.
The
Because I've had a
exchange.
lot of those people give me the heads up about something that's just
Right.
appeared on ComSync
Yep.
or eBay.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
sending me, which is why it's kind of number one on the list.
Sure.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
having
the
that
exchange of that information is kind of
Simple.
unparalleled in other
Mm.
places. It's just it's really widespread. So
Yeah.
somebody has their eyes on every portal, every avenue, every network out there, and is, as long as you keep the group close to vest, it doesn't take long if you're putting feelers out there.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just having that network, extra pairs of eyes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And ideas. So, what didn't I think of? What did what, because of the way you typically collect, or the your experiences, things that get past you. It's it's been critical, even in shifting tides, when stuff like what's happening now with the IP shifting with Upper Deck. Now we still have a constant with the group to at least always have a few different opportunities when collecting here in the future, even with EPAC kind of now going through a little transition to self.
Mm. Mm.
Do you think, and this made me think of, like since it's easier to collect sets on EPAC, do you think now if somebody collects a full set of tops or a full set of something else, that the cost of them will go up because they're going to be harder to make or find?
No,
Depends on your set goal, I guess. A lot of people list full sets of base and parallels.
it
on
depends on how
eBay.
popular the product gets and who degens the most into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If someone's opening cases and cases and cases, they're going to have a lot of spares that they'll put together into sets to move them.
Right.
But that happens now. So, I mean, there was someone on group in the last 24 hours selling base sets from Annual over the last few years because they'd opened a lot of physical. I could hook each and every one of you and everyone in chat up with an Eternals base set. So I've opened 3 cases of it over the past few years. Whether you want it or not, it's another question entirely. But I it's just the time to sort them all. But people will dump stuff. But if you're going after something less prolific, so not a base set, if you're going after a certain chase element, chances are you're still going to have to piece it together yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess that.
Right.
Yeah, that made me think of something else. It's probably, I don't know if it's one of your numbers, but patience. Patience is probably important to have if in this new setting. You got to have good patience to be able to put together the things because they're not going to be right away. You got to work a little harder.
Yeah. It's like I can hang on. I can look at it 2 ways. I'm going after the monumental covers cards from the retail set, so Woman of Marvel, Spider-Man, and Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Now I could pick those up bit by bit, but I know. See, you've got
That's
some of that,
sweet.
Jason. They're nice.
Those are cool.
They are really nice. The forwarding on them is beautiful.
Yeah,
I
they're
got most
awesome.
of the Woman of Marvel.
Yeah,
and I picked up most of the Woman of Marvel in one lot as well from Matthew Frosset from MCCW. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his surname, but that's how I like to
I like it. Yeah, no, I like it.
Go with that.
Frosset, Monsieur Frosset. I'd have those Women of Marvel cards. I got all but 4 of them from him. The Spidey ones, because it's Spidey, people are selling it a lot more individually, but generally speaking, a lot of them aren't shifting. So I'm starting to see sets of them being sold, or nearly full sets of them being sold. I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started looking at on eBay for the what they were going for, because the collation in the box was much better than the Women of Marvel box, which I got like 20 dupes in duplicates.
Mm-hmm.
So this one I did much better. Some of a little bit of a better head start, but the singles on the monumental covers and some of the other stuff, it's a little, I'd be better off buying another box,
Yeah.
for right now.
I'm just gonna wait. I'll pick them up. It'll be on my list of things I still haven't completed in 10 years' time.
Yeah, that's too many duplicates for one box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little heavy, you know what I mean? At that point,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But
I think I noticed that with the Women of Marvel people posting that they got a lot of duplicates in
Yeah.
those boxes.
Mm.
But the Spider-Man one was great. No, you know, I thought I had a duplicate, but then I went back and looked and I did not. So don't drink and rip because you may miss something. So.
Yeah, I don't tend to do that as much as you do. But one of these days,
oh man,
we are going to do a drunk podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
I've
always
woken
goes
up-
right back to Whatnot too.
I've
What's
woken
that,
up with card foil everywhere, just in random places,
Yeah.
and just like bags of chips and just stuff. Oh my god, it looks this bad. Yeah.
Chips
Yeah.
and foil where the sun
Oh,
don't shine.
food, yeah, and just cards everywhere, and just trying to piece together what happened. I mean, the most of the cards are in a somewhat neat order, but there's been a few of those nights for me.
I've got an image now in my head that I can't repeat out loud, and for me not to repeat it out loud, you know, it's something that would be
You know, like
quite
Christmas
juicy.
morning, you wake up and all the presents are under the tree. Well, think of the opposite of that, where it's like after Christmas.
I was more thinking of, you know, the slot that you swipe your card down when you charge something.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Where were we? Has everyone answered your question yet, Josh?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
I can't remember. And the last thing I had on my list actually
Sorry.
is there. So Wesley, you can't
Sorry.
do that. Just ask it out loud, because otherwise, if I go over there, it puts me off. Puts me off a train of thought. Wesley, what was that question you had?
I was thinking, you know, that being said, that we're going a little more analog. Is there a good website that you guys found that has newer checklists on them, like
Cardboard Connection and
Cardboard
Beckett.
Connection, and they do update? Because I know some of
They
there's
do.
that one website that wasn't Cardboard Connection. Okay.
Yeah, they do. But I tell you what, the distributors actually, my go-to is, funnily enough, with the name, is Go GTS.
I was just going to suggest them
because they link to the Excel sheet if it's been sent out. So if it's an Upper Deck set, Upper Deck will distribute their cell sheet thing, and they'll distribute the checklist usually as a PDF and as an Excel sheet. I just find it easier to go there and download the Excel sheet, and then I can sort it, because the number of cards, certainly if it's an Upper Deck set, the volume of cards on there. But I have to say, the I don't know exactly how Topps distribute theirs, but most of the time I've been able to see that on certainly for the 2 Chrome products they released last year, it was on their website.
Okay.
So maybe that can, I don't know. Has anyone looked on the Topps site for X-Men Premium?
not
X-Men
yet.
97?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think when it first got announced, I did.
Yeah.
I think that's where I got the initial checklist.
Yeah.
Because I remember finding out some sketch artists I was shocked to see back on product.
Yes. And some welcome returns as well.
Yeah.
Which is good. I know.
So then there were some that may not have been around with Upper Deck that are back with.
Yeah.
Is that what?
I'll tell you what I'm really pleased about. I saw Jalen Warner.
It's on Topps' website. I'm just
I'm just going to give a shout out to Jalen Warner because he's a good dude.
Yep.
But he's been a lot quieter of late. But he's on the new Halo product, and they're really cool looking cards as well. And well, that product, it looks really cool, full stop. But anyway, we'll not talk about that today. But because I'm sad that I can't afford any.
And it looks like we're finally getting James Bond Black Diamond.
Oh yeah, I think he's out this week. Again, I can't afford that either.
Yeah.
So my last point on here in terms of tips, apart from be patient, which is a really good one. Wes, it wasn't on my list, but it should be added to it. Don't forget blowout forums. A lot of people break stuff and put it on there and put it on the sales section.
I know.
So
I've
I've seen people put stuff on there, and I've messaged them, and also here's the thing: you can often find EPAC IDs and or COMC IDs on blowout, because people will often have the same IDs on the different platforms. So there was a fella who had an Eternals plate I wanted. Didn't know who he was. He wasn't an MCGW. I couldn't find his EPAC username on any of the Facebook groups. So I searched on Blowout. I found his, he posts a lot on Blowout because he does sports as well as non-sports. I sent him a private message on Blowout. Lo and behold, I've got the plate. And his PayPal's a bit healthier.
How is the experience on Blowout? Because I've never gone over there. I always thought there'd be dragons.
I wouldn't. I'm not saying I'd necessarily want to hang out there as a place, in lieu of an MCCW or my favorite Discord. I think it does have its challenges as an older style forum, and it is a lot more Wild West. But it's just worth keeping an eye. I guess what I'm saying is, if you're going to collect physical product and you're not buying it new, or you're just chasing certain characters or certain cards, you kind of got to layer these things in. This is it's one place to look. Blowout is one place to look. Just bookmark it and have a look every few days, and just have a scan through. Because if it doesn't come up in your eBay searches, chances are your mate will send you a link to it, and you won't have seen it. Because I have searches that will work on UK but won't work for US or China stuff. So I have to set the same search up as a bookmark and put it onto .com, ebay.com. So you kind of have to be able to kind of do all those things, because a lot of the Chinese product isn't visible to UK, but it is to .com. And that's eBay doing that a lot of the time. It's not that the seller's choosing to not make it available to the UK. It's just the way eBay have started to, because they want, I think you can pay extra for international visibility in some cases as well. So I guess what I'm saying is, have your eyes on all these different places, especially if you're a character collector. Really is worth doing.
Yeah.
Wesley's nodding sagely.
And you're right, you do have to layer it, because if you jump in all at once, then next thing you know, you got subsets. And
if you do it just in one place. I'm going to go back to the comments, because I've been ignoring those for a few minutes. Josh is here. What's up, MCCW community? Are we the MCCW community? I don't know. Well, I guess we kind of are.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about Topps X-Men 97 set? I was going to kind of talk about that maybe another time, actually, because I haven't opened any yet. I haven't watched any being opened. I've seen some cards and I've seen some commentary, but I was going to kind of maybe, and we haven't talked about this, but I can't do next Sunday, but I was going to find out if anyone was free for a little bit on Saturday.
Possibly.
Do this live, possibly. And I was thinking we could maybe just jump on and just look at a couple of posts about it and just try and be a lens for some of that feedback. Because like I said, I haven't opened it, so I can't comment. I can only go on other people's impressions of it, and that's still kind of filtering out.
Yeah.
So
There's
anyway,
some cool inserts.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's put a pin in that. So we'll come back to you on that, Josh, if that's all right. I had a couple of caution. We'll go back to Whatnot, actually. Now, this is not me saying that all things are bad, and I know that it's going to get said like this, but I've got to be wary. Be wary of breaks. And what I mean by that is that not all breaks are equal. First of all, there are good breakers and bad breakers, and until you again, this comes back to your network. Get advice. Who's good? Who's good to watch? Who's a good time? Who's a good experience? And we've all got friends that do live breaks on Whatnot and things like that, and I'm sure we'll recommend those. But just be careful about. So back in the day on Facebook groups, especially for retro video games, which is where I used to hang around a lot about 10 years ago, I used to do raffles quite a lot. Until Facebook got wise to it, and actually, you can't say raffle that much in a group now for fear of it being shut down. Because I saw a retro video game group in the UK of easily north of 25,000 members disappear like that because of all the raffles that were running in it and the way they were being run. So it's a dangerous thing to do. Anyway, I used to go into them quite a lot, and I more often than not, you wouldn't win. But you'd spend £1 to be in that one, £2 to be in that one, £3 to be in that one, because it was the cost of, whatever the perceived value of the game would be, divided by however many spots they decided to run. So, and I'd go into it and I'd maybe buy 1 spot or 5 spots or whatever and think, oh yeah, I'm going to win that. But of course, it's completely random. So, I equate it to death by 1,000 cuts is the way I started thinking about it. Because I'd come away from like a week's worth of raffles across 3 or 4 different like places I was doing them. And I'd be out 80 quid, which is the best part of $100. And I didn't have anything to show for it. So I guess what I'm saying is just be mindful of the character breaks that you're going in for. Because I think a lot of them, people come out okay. And I think some of the people on this podcast have come out okay.
Yeah.
But just be careful about how much you're spending. Because some of them, in fact, a lot of them benefit the breaker more than they do the buyer. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
They're always, there's a financial upside to opening product and selling it in that way for the person who's doing it. Now, admittedly, they're putting in a lot of work, but you are talking about quite a markup in some cases.
Right.
Keith, you're about to add something here. I can see
the be wary thing is 100% true, especially as you're going to see people that have not opened Marvel product before get this product and start breaking it just because they are used to breaking WWE or UFC or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So now they've got this Upper Deck product, and I saw some things recently, like even the most recent Masterpieces product where someone was selling the sketch card slot for like a lot of money.
There's only like 25 sketches.
And there was 25 sketches in the product.
And
I'm like, guys, hey. And I got thrown out of the group. I got thrown out of that room when I mentioned it. I was like, hey,
wow.
$250 for that spot is a little rough, guys. I mean, there's only
you were doing
25 of them.
You were doing the right thing.
They threw me out of the room.
Uh-huh.
So I just think that, as I was saying earlier, it might be important for something to look at in whose rooms you're in. Make sure they're established with Marvel product and ask questions before you buy anything. Hey, how many of these are in there? What is this insert? What's the rarity of this? Because it's not just character breaks some of the guys do. They break them into insert breaks too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to go after, I've seen that as well.
Medallion spots,
things like that. So you've got to be really just, and it's like anything. You could fall into that void very quickly and just buy a bunch of stuff, and next thing you know, you didn't get anything, or it wasn't handled properly because some of these guys aren't really good with handling cards and shipping and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's where, again, we go back to the community and knowing who you're buying from, and just maybe thinking about, what that breaker's specialty is, and not just going into, because it was crazy. The day 97 released, Whatnot was wild. The amount of breaks that there were. I was kind of shocked. I didn't think it would be that big of a reaction for that product, and there was a lot of people breaking it.
Well, that's because Topps Fanatics model is that whole, is fed into like that. Is my understanding. So I will put my hands up now and say I as I said before, I don't Whatnot. I'm just going on what other people have told me.
Yeah.
Now I know that there are loads of people who use Whatnot, and they aim to put on a good show. They aim to be entertaining, and they choose not to use some of those ways of splitting the product. I don't know what all the names are, but
a good seller,
they just make it a fair thing, So so there are plenty of good people who use that platform as well as some of the negative experiences.
Yeah. I mean, I've had great luck with Keith Boyle's Whatnot. That's the only one I really will follow and do. And now I will do the caveat that I've had good luck, but also the characters that I buy into are not your high priced characters either. So I've done pretty well.
Yeah.
But no, I like Whatnot. I think it's good for character collect, but everything Keith and everybody's saying, I only kind of look at the ones that like I've got people recommended. I just don't go blindly into a Whatnot if I'm not familiar with the person or don't quite understand how they've got it structured. I don't mess with it.
A good seller, somebody who cares, is not going to sell you a mirage spot you're not going to get crushed on a mirage spot. They know the rough breakout, and they're not going to, they want to build a community. They want to build find those people, lock onto them, and
So Marvelous Pack said, I've been blocked on many Whatnot shows. Keith speaks from experience of gambling a ton. And then he's added, why are people scared to name names? Call the bad actors out. I personally can't name names. I'll say that. I don't use Whatnot. So I don't know who the people are where this shit's happened. Keith, I think you've just responded to that in your particular incident.
Yeah, that night in particular, I was just bouncing around streams and I was watching one and I just happened to look through his shop and say, ooh. And then the next thing I know, I was gone.
Believe me, if I knew names of bad actors, I would call them out. So, for example, I'll quite happily call out some bad actors who've scammed, in group, for example, because I'm aware of them and I've dealt with them. But I don't use Whatnot, so I can't shout out. I can shout out some of the good people I know from reputation.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm biased because they're friends, but I simply can't call it out. I'm sure other people could probably call them out on different content. That use those platforms more. It's just not ever been a focus for.
But do your homework when you're looking into it, because like Keith says, if it's somebody who does non-sports breaks and they don't do Marvel often, and then they wind up with some masterpiece in their hands, you run into this stuff all the time.
Yeah,
where
an easy way to tell is if they don't know how to pronounce a single character's name right. That's like a key indicator.
Or not familiar with the different parallels. And
or not familiar. Yeah, exactly. So I've opened some stuff that isn't Marvel with Amanda. And I've been opening it. I'm like, I've got no idea what I'm looking at. I literally no idea what I'm looking at. So thank fuck I'm not running a Whatnot stream trying to actually sell it.
Not this stuff. Yeah. I thought the new Disney release was incredible. Some of those cards, those new tops, the Disney cards were incredible.
That's the limited one that we
They're
talked about.
Fantastic. The Beetlejuice, the old cartoon Beetlejuice, the old, it's got the WB and stuff in there as well.
Oh yeah.
It's phenomenal. The cards, the hollow, the construction, it's great stuff to look at. But I in no way, shape, or form would ever go on a stream and push that.
Another call out too is that now that Topps has got Marvel product is that they have the Fanatics app also, which is very similar to the Whatnot
format. Do they do Fanatics Live as well?
Exactly
is that
what I'm saying. Yes,
right,
there's almost the exact same thing as a Whatnot over on the Fanatics app. Just because I know Billy's been breaking all sorts of stuff, and he's been using both the Whatnot for the shop and the Fanatics.
All right.
So,
well, and I don't go on to Whatnot very much anymore. When it first came out, it was one of those things where it was just so easy to buy it. And, I looked at my bank account on Monday after a weekend and, like, what the fuck did I do? And there's something about, when it comes to singles, bidding on something that you have 10 seconds to bid on and think about and keep bidding against somebody else and not being able to do the research. So that goes back to the research part. I'm a big fan of going to like eBay Live. They have a eBay, for so ComC has their own eBay Live to where it's like a Whatnot, but they put a lot of the stuff that they're going to put up there sooner, so you can do a little research first and do some stuff, and you can, get some stuff there, and then it goes straight to your ComC account.
I don't think eBay Live has any Marvel yet, though, because I spoke to Boyle about why it doesn't, and eBay just doesn't want.
Well, it's the one I'm talking about is done by a person, so I could do a Whatnot Live. I could do an eBay Live just because I have an eBay account. So ComC does their own eBay Live every day at like noon. They set up and they have a bunch of cards.
Oh, okay.
And they have like a live, and that is much more laid back and there's about 500 people on there a day. I'm not trying to plug anything, but you can help pick spots and fill in parts of your PC with that, and it's fun.
I'm gonna go back a step on Whatnot. Blake, he mentioned it a while ago, but I'm gonna bring it back.
Sketch cards.
The other, and now I like this. So, and this would actually, for me, make sense for a sketch artist to be doing this on Whatnot. Actually, doing live stuff on there and doing it regularly. And some of those guys used to do live, especially throughout COVID. They used to do a lot of live stuff in MCCW and other groups, and they'd draw stuff, and they'd both be working on it, and it'd be quite a long stream. Some of them, I don't know if any of you ever watched them. You'd often have Dre, Gordon Wills, Munshaw, Jalen Warner, you know, all doing stuff.
Mhm.
Have you caught any of the Sketch Card Wars?
I have, mate. I barely have time to edit and listen to our show. In fact, I don't have time to edit and listen to this show because I'm about 10 episodes behind on the audio versions. Apologies, everybody who are waiting for those. I might have to make a life call on the audio version of this podcast at some point. Because if I'm regularly getting behind and I'm regularly disappointing people, it might just well be a live stream thing going forward, which is a shame for me because I've always loved the audio format. Anyway, that's a conversation for another time. But going back to Blake, but yes, that makes sense that someone who is, you know, artists are, you know, it's another really good avenue for them to put their work out there and be able to draw stuff and have that combined sharing of the creative process, but also have an audience who are willing to buy it.
Yeah,
giving that mechanism. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Thank you for sending. Blake sent some examples of artist commissions to my Instagram, so I'll check those out afterwards. Blake, thank you for that.
and it can draw you. It can draw you into sketches watching it done, like watching the process, penciling, and some of the different styles, the mediums they use. It all of a sudden you find yourself like, wow, this is wildly interesting.
But I imagine, you know, that you could watch it, you know, and not buy something. I mean, I'm sure the artist obviously wants you to. And
I'm definitely entertained just
always up to support. But I've always just loved watching them do stuff, especially when they're talking to each other.
Oh yeah,
there's more than one artist, and they're chatting shit and, you know, talking about the techniques and the stuff they're using. I find it fascinating. I mean, I'm less into sketch guard these days, so I probably wouldn't choose, you know, the limited time I have to consume product, I wouldn't necessarily choose to go there, perhaps. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just there's only so many hours in a day to watch stuff. And I'm way behind,
but done right, it can be profitable.
But yes, no, that's what I'm saying. So I think it's brilliant that there is a positive use of that. So I didn't want to make anyone seem that this show is being down at all on whatnot as a concept and a thing. You know, it is what it is, and you know, there's rough and the smooth with everything. And the other point of no, it was just more of a be alert one, really. This is an interesting one. Low numbered cards. So we mentioned earlier on, when you see the low numbered stuff, you can usually track it or have a sense of who's got it by virtue of ePack and ComC. You can kind of get a sense of it. But on eBay, unless you message the seller and they're willing to tell you who they sold it to, or eBay user ID, it's gone if you miss it. So I know it sounds weird. You know, on the one hand, be patient. But for some of these physical only products, if it's low, and when I say low, I'm probably thinking
10.
No, I'm probably going to go slightly wider than that, maybe 25 or under. You've got to be prepared to jump.
Yeah,
you know, and that's something I've been doing for the past few years. Actually, I haven't had the money to do it on Matriarchs because you had all the rendition stuff out at the same time, and it was just carnage, quite frankly, for Black Cat for me. So much so, I had to use half of the proceeds from my comic collection sale to pay off some debt that I had from just trying to grab all that stuff up. But I was focused on buying the lower end stuff first. And to this day, I still don't have many of the number to 399 to 299 to 199 or 99 from renditions. And there are 3 different rainbows that Black Cat appear on in there because I chose to go for the lower numbered stuff. You know, the metal cards that are numbered to 25, the artist autos that are numbered to, I can't remember what they're numbered to now. There's something else numbered to 33. Yeah, the stuff numbered to 50, the Tombstone White, the Craven Brown that were numbered to 10. I've still only managed to get one of the 3 I'm after of those. But, you know, there are some more limited ones, but it's just too much. And then you've got the Matriarch stuff. You know, if a green Black Cat medallion came out, I probably wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. It'd be out of my price range. So that's beyond my means as a collector to own that, much as I'd love it.
Oh, I know.
But I'd love to go for the 25 or the 50.
Yeah.
But I just haven't, you know, and a few of them come up. I just haven't had the money. But what I'm saying is, when that low numbered stuff comes up, if you're in a position to snap it up, snap it up.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it was relatively easy for me.
It stays. Well, yeah, but you've probably had a bit of your network throwing your hooks as well.
No, I stalked eBay on my own and just was like, bang, bang, bang.
That's
And
where you've been.
And it was all
That's where you've been this past month.
and it was all auctions, and
Wow.
I killed it on every one of them.
Wow.
It's
That's
just the green. It's the green that eludes me now.
Yeah. I have to say, I've had some great luck on some of those low-numbered ones with China sellers as well. Going back to the whole global thing, and some in different countries.
China and Australia is where I got some of the steals.
Yes. Yeah, Cherry often puts some really good prices on stuff. They're pretty reasonable. They don't go crazy with it, and the exchange rates usually works in your favor as well. So just be alert. You know, if you say you see, I know, AN other new tops. Say they do Marvel. What are some of the high end tops brands again? Masterworks. Say they do Marvel
Flawless.
Masterworks. Or Flawless or something like that. And you see the checklist and you know there's going to be stuff in there for you. You know, you might want to keep your powder dry for the more regularly available stuff, and just keep your eyes open for the low numbered stuff, and try and get that tucked away first, especially if you're a character collector.
I like your cutoff point too, because when I think about some of the 50 out of 50s and out of 99s, if you're patient, those do turn up. PMGs for perfect example, you know, blues and reds. If you're patient, you're going to find it, and you're going to find a good deal on it. But anything sub 25, sub 10, auto, you know, that jazz, opportunities are rare.
Did you say keep your powder dry?
Yeah, have you never heard that expression? No, it's an old expression about gunpowder. About gunpowder and it being wet. So if it's wet, then you're not able to fire off your shot.
Right.
I was thinking of like talcum powder.
Rude.
Yeah, no, over in Miami, it means a little
talcum powder.
I thought, I was thinking Miami.
A little, in this neck of the woods. It's
talcum powder. I just want to give a shout out because someone mentioned it in chat. There's a guy who Marvel Guy 239. He went by Kent Williams. He's down in Florida. He recently passed away. So yeah. He Josh, I don't know the circumstances.
I think back in October.
Yeah, so I think it was only recently announced by Josh actually in the groups. I had a good relationship with Kent. I didn't speak to him often, but I had a good relationship with him. He busted a Black Cat printing plate from Masterpieces 2020, and he was really fair. And he made sure it came to me, and he worked with me to make sure I got that. So I'll never forget that. You know, he helped out another collector, and he was a good guy. You know, and I'm friends with him on Facebook, and you know, we often had occasional hellos and things like that. He wasn't as much on the Facebook groups, but he was in them. But yeah, no, good guy. So yeah, no, thanks for shouting that out, Josh, because Josh on chat, not Josh on the, you know what I mean. Marvel Madness, Josh.
There are a lot of us.
But yeah. And yeah, another point here. A good one from Retroverse.
This is excellent point.
This is a really, really good point, and I'm as guilty of this as everyone. Being aware that we don't need every card is important too. So yeah, I think that's important. I think it's important to note. Yeah, I've gone too crazy before. I'm sure we all have.
I'm learning that lesson now because I do like to build rainbows. I pick a card I like and do a rainbow, and it's gotten to the point you got to kind of pick what's your end point. What are you going to be happy with in that page, that 9-page sleeve? What are and you kind of have to do that with like platinum and these metal sets that have 1,000 parallels. What's gonna what's not gonna break the bank, and also give you that kind of satisfying kind of set that you'll be proud of, but also give you, because I don't want to just buy everything easy. Part of this is the chase and the hunt,
right?
You know what I mean? So but it's that balance. But that's an excellent point. excellent.
it's the thrill of the hunt, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah.
I we've talked about that before on this podcast. One of the it's the big it's one of the stages of collection is that hunt, and the satisfaction you get from being able to get that last card. And sometimes you don't get that last card, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know I'm not going to get the black opal of those
Right.
from that X23 from Matriarch.
It would be lovely.
Sure.
They
Yeah.
have a massive scratch on it, I'm sure, but
Oh God. And even the green, it's out of 10. So I'm not. There's enough cool colors here that I'm looking at that I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, and I saw a cool display. There was somebody that had all the Squirrel Girl. They posted on one of those sites.
Yes.
And had them all displayed very well. And those medallions look pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I learned with Platinum, not Masterpieces Platinum, but the first Platinum. I eventually have got all but maybe 2 elements from that, and one of them isn't the one. Obviously, I don't have the one of one. Otherwise, I'd have been shouting about it. It would have been on a chain around my neck.
Yeah.
But
That's a good idea.
It is a good idea. Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a chain that says "motherfucker." Sorry, I've been cussing lots.
Nice. Yes, usually me. It's usually me who's got a potty mouth. But with
I've seen a few people.
Platinum, I was just like, I'm kind of out of gas, and also I didn't really want to spend the money, if I'm honest.
I've seen a few people do the rainbow backwards, which is kind of a weird concept to me, where when they hit a 1 of 1 or a green.
Oh yeah, people often do that.
Then they'll rainbow it because they
build a rainbow around the limited or
starting
1 of 1.
That's how I ended
what
up
I
with
do.
Richter. That's how I ended up with Richter.
Yeah.
And I almost did that where until I traded my green PMG Blizzard from my case of metal, I was sitting there going like, "Whoa, man, this is a cool looking card, Blizzards, But then I said to myself, "Wait a second, I'm about to invest the time, effort into collecting rainbowing Blizzard, not for me." So, that's one where I get it. Where when you catch that low, numbered one, that's a good starting point for a rainbow. But then that's not really, you never get to pick your character. It's not coincidentally going to be your PC character. It's not.
It's certainly not healthy, but I had fun doing it.
Yeah. Okay. It takes you on. Yeah.
You can say that about many things in life, Keith.
Yeah.
Probably yesterday evening for you.
100%.
Given how most of your Saturdays seem to go. I'm just going to quickly touch back towards Kent Williams, who passed away. So Josh, Marvel Madness, Josh was saying in chat that he's going to speak to his son, Alex, to go over his collection. And there's going to be an auction stream to go towards his family. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, let us know when that is, Josh. We'll make sure we advertise that as well. I mean,
I believe he was local around Naples, if I'm not mistaken. He had gotten a couple of messages in the past, and it's sad news, but definitely nice to see it.
Yeah, I think he was in
collection,
real estate, mortgage stuff, things like that.
Correct.
I mean, listen, just because EPAC isn't the main platform that future Marvel product will come out doesn't mean to say that it's game over. I think the expression I would urge everyone to take away from this is, as someone who was already doing this and EPAC got added to it, is diversify your portfolio. Have fingers in all these pies, and most of all, just have your networks. Have people who will send you a link to, I just saw this on eBay. It's just come up, or, I just saw this go on ComC, or this has come on group, whether they comment or send you a DM. So, yeah, you can't ask for more than that, really. Collectors helping each other get stuff.
Right.
And that shows the importance of not burning bridges, too, like not doing something stupid to get somebody.
Like Jason said earlier, that's the foundation of really everything stems from that. A core that you can trust, that's good data, diverse ideas, and lots of eyes out there.
So I know if I want advice over certain things, I know there are people in the hobby I can go to, and speak to anyone. So yeah, I think it's best for that. So we might be on next Saturday. for a short one. Won't be a long one. But yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards, and we'll let you know, folks. In the meantime, I think it's worth going back to what we talked about at the top of the show, because I think he's still here, and there's loads of people who weren't here at the top of the show. Happy birthday, Pete, TC Wallets and more. We're not going to sing to you again.
Good guy.
You'll be
Happy I got to meet him
relieved
this year.
Yeah, you'll be.
Yeah,
relieved.
we were missing a couple octaves on the last.
We were missing a couple of objects and any sense of a tune. I believe would be part of that. But I hope you have a great day, Pete. Hope you not. Are you working? I don't know. Maybe you're working today. Hopefully you've got a day off. It'd be really shite to be working actually on your birthday. I always does anyone here always take their birthday as a day off? I do.
My birthday's on a holiday, so it's the day after a holiday. So usually I wrap it up with 4th of July and just call it my day.
Yeah. Okay.
I started taking my birthday off. I used to just work through it, but now
but now I'm like, fuck off. It's my day. I'm going to do what I want,
I'm going to buy a bunch of Marvel cards.
Say that. Yeah. Or I'm just going to roll around naked in Marvel cards and hope that they don't go with the sun every night.
It's just not that crazy. It sounds uncommon. It's not.
That's Josh, drunk ripping.
That's Josh. He does that indecent proposal thing, where she lies on the bed with all the money. He does that with his cards.
I'm going to say once every 3 months, maybe.
Is that all?
Quarterly.
Wow.
It's a quarterly event.
You live in a warm state. You've got nothing to be ashamed of. You get those cards. Anyway, all right. Pete's got a day off, so rejoice. I'm gonna go with Josh to lead us out this week, just because he was the last person to speak.
Everyone enjoy collecting.
This is where I actually need to be ready to push the button. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks. Have a great week. Take care. What am I pushing? This one here. There we go.